president of Argentina has reignited the seemingly never-ending row over the Falklands by promising a new roadmap. That's what he calls it, a roadmap for his country's takeover of the islands.
Yes, speaking on the 42nd anniversary of Argentina's invasion of the Falkland Islands, Javier Milei added that the best tribute to Argentina's war dead would be to defend the unwavering claim for Argentinian sovereignty over those islands.
However, we've hit back. A spokesman for Prime Minister Rishi Sunak responded, saying the issue had been settled decisively some time ago.
And quite decisive it was. Let's get the thoughts now of the Falklands War veteran, Simon Weston. Simon, thank you so much for making the time for us. How does it make you feel personally when you hear that the Argentine president, the Argentine public, no doubt, simply are not letting this one go?
It's like a dog with a bone. They lost the argument 42 years ago. They had a referendum several years ago, which was 98 or 97%, something like, or 99% in favour of remaining under British sovereignty. It seems to me that with all the problems that this president has in his country, with all the raging inflation, which pretty much was what the Argentinians invaded because of 42 years ago, because they had something like 2,000% inflation. It just seems like he's doing the smoke and mirrors trick like a magician. You know, look what the left hand's doing because the right hand's doing something else. And it just strikes me that he's just banging the same old drum that they've all banged for 42 years.
Yes, it does seem that way. But this Javier Milei is a little bit different, isn't he? He's a bit of a maverick. Do you think actually he could try and do something about this? He could actually, you know, put his actions where his mouth is.
But he can't do anything militarily. He's not Superman. You know, his pants go on one leg at a time, same as everybody else. He's not Superman. He's just an ordinary guy who's come from complete left field in Argentinian politics. He is a maverick, but then again, apparently he consults a psychic who talks to his dead dog to get some decisions made. This guy, he has no military to talk about. Most of their navy is still where it was left 42 years ago on the bottom of the sea. His air force is depleted, from what I know, from being down there last year. They've only 4 serviceable fighter aircraft. Their army is depleted. Then again, so's ours. You know, our army's been run to the ground because they're looking at a so-called peace dividend. There is no such thing. But these people have never, ever invested since 82. They've never invested in their military because they didn't want to have a junta again. They didn't want to have their politicians thrown out on their ear for being corrupt. And largely, the biggest problem Argentina has is because of corruption in their politicians, like most of South America. So he can get a cabal of nations together in South America to say, yes, at the United Nations, we all need to take the Falklands back. It's a mark of sovereignty for all of us, for all of our islands everywhere. But as we know, the UN is toothless. It does nothing. It will mean nothing. They make lots of noises and have lots of rhetoric. But at the end of the day, the people of the islands are a sovereign nation of their own. They have created their own country. They have their own currency, and they have chosen under whose flag and laws they wish to exist. And as long as they want that, then we must protect that. If they change their mind at any time, then we must accept that and respect it. But until the Argentinian politicians accept that they have no argument, which they don't, there's no legal argument at all for what they state, they just have to leave it well alone. We can't keep going back and fighting over the same ground. They've continued banging the drum about this for the last 42 years. The islanders have stated their case, and they're the only people that are relevant in all of this. Not me, not any of the other veterans. You know, we went there because we were paid to do a job. Now, afterwards, we've been intelligent enough to learn about what the politics was about back then. And what we know is that we were paid to do a job, not for our opinion. And our job was to do what we did back in 82. And our opinion then was that we were doing what our country and the islanders wanted. And the Argentinians have to accept that. They're the ones who broke international law by invading another country. They're the ones who broke all protocols. But what we've seen is that the world will react, as we've seen it happen in Russia and Ukraine. You know, Russia invaded, the world stood with Ukraine, or most of the world. And the same must be respected in the case of the Falklands. The islanders have got
I wonder if, Simon,
economy.
I wonder if in the future, though, it might be seen as the progressive thing, that a future government might decide that actually, oh, the Argentinians, they deserve this land
they've
back.
Never lived there. Not a single Argentine person has lived on these islands.
I can just foresee the debate changing. I mean, if we look at the way we discuss these, Simon, we're going to have to leave it there, but it was absolutely fantastic to get your perspective on all of this. Simon Weston, who is, of course, a Falklands War veteran, so he knows what he's talking about.
And,
but can't you see that? Can't you just imagine, people on the left potentially saying, oh, it doesn't really belong to us. They have just as much right to this land as we do, and we should do the right thing and hand them back.
And yet the bonkers thing here is that the Brits who live there, the Falkland Islanders, have lived there for hundreds of years. Yeah. If anything, they're the indigenous people on those islands that were uninhabited before Europeans settled there. And actually, frankly, Argentina... They're not natives in Argentina. The people that run Argentina, they're of Spanish descent.
I can just see it.
It's colonialists arguing with colonialists.
I can just see it.